This is exciting. I am interviewing Ross D Seymour. He is a lot of things, a lot of hats. No exaggeration. Actor, stuntman. Go through it. He's a pro. He's a pro magician, which I cannot wait to talk about. Now, Ross is from Ohio. He joined the U.S. Marine Corps. Then he traveled abroad. His about 7 years in the military. He polishes acting, and then did some Old West reenactment work, which is really cool, and as a professional magician, which I can't wait to talk. Ross made his Hollywood debut as a stand-in for Russell Crowe, big star, of course, one of the biggest. Ross made his own name then as an actor and has appeared in movies such as Seabiscuit and Master and Commander, big production, and on TV shows such as Charmed. A buddy of mine loves Charmed, gotta ask him about that. Primetime Glick with Martin Short, and the true life story of Alexander the Great for the History Channel. And I can't wait. There's an upcoming Tom Hanks produced and narrated World War II epic for the History Channel. I can't wait to see that. So anyway, let's bring him on. Welcome, Ross.
Hey, Will, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, my friend? I know you're out west there, and I am in Jersey, suffering. What could have been worse? Suffering from this snowstorm, but I think we'll get through. So yeah, it's like
I'm in southern Utah. We there's some snow on the mountains, and it's cold, but we aren't getting snow
but
yet.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Doing a little better than the Jersey people here in New York. But yeah, I mean, look, it's winter. What can you can't get around that. But so it's great to talk. And let me dive in. As a kid, I had like a magic set. Like I guess my mom bought me like the little wand and magic set, and maybe even the little hat. So, and I've just always been fascinated. I saw a great Penn and Teller. I think it's an older show. I think it's called Fool Us or Fooled, and they had a David Copperfield, and really good stuff. So let me ask: was it always something as a younger person, and then you became a pro magician, right? That's great. That's great.
Yeah. Well, the fun thing is, I started as a kid, and I don't remember exactly the time, but maybe 7 or 8 years old, probably.
Nice. Yeah.
And I went to magic camp one summer.
There's a magic camp, though. That's so cool.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
There's a
My mom
magic
sent
camp.
me to magic camp.
That's awesome.
And I would set up a table and chairs in the driveway and do magic shows for the neighborhood kids and moms, And,
yeah.
And I always, and then I kind of fell out of it, as we do. I was into all the kind of fun stuff. I had a ventriloquist dummy, and I love puppets, and so I was into all of that kind of performance stuff.
Wow.
Never juggling, but
yeah. I was telling Ross I was juggling this morning to get my energy off of the snow. Yeah, that is a favorite. I've always wanted. I taught myself years ago. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I ended up, so my, actually during the military. Well, I picked up computers very early in my life, and in my time, there wasn't a computer in every home. So my parents went to a timeshare meeting. This is kind of funny, and they brought home this Timex Sinclair 1000. It was a little computer that you hooked up to a regular analog tape recorder and hooked it up to your analog TV, and you could write programs. And so I kind of got into computers when I was young as well, which ended up being like really my waiting tables gig as an actor, right? Nice. You always have to have another job because it's not continuous work most of the time. Yeah. So I when I was in my 20s, I was trading video games through the recycler newspaper, and I met a guy, and he was a professional magician, and we both loved video games, and so we were trading video games back then. Nice. Back with floppy disks and all that kind of stuff. So, and so I started going to his shows, and it reinvigorated my passion for magic, and I started showing him some tricks. He wouldn't teach me anything, it's the secret, magician.
Yeah, the magician, code.
Right. So I started doing tricks for him, and I impressed him. I tricked him.
Oh,
wow, you're doing pretty good. I said, hey, would you mentor me? And so he took me in. He was a Magic Castle magician, professional.
Oh, that was my next question. I can't wait. Go ahead, Magic Castle.
Yeah. So he started teaching me, and so then I picked it up, and I started doing performances for like the Children's Heart Foundation and churches.
Nice,
and some promotion in the mall and all that kind of stuff. So I did shows, and the funny thing is, it wasn't until later in life that I went to the Magic Castle, and this is probably only 10 years ago. I mean, I say 10, only 10. But,
Yeah.
it was probably 10 years ago, and I was at the Magic Castle, and I was watching the magicians, and I said, I think I'm as good or better than a lot of these guys.
Really?
And so I
Yeah.
thought, well, so I went through, and you have to be referred by 3 magicians, and you have to audition for the best magicians in the world at the Academy of Magical Arts, the Magic Castle in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I auditioned, and I got accepted into the secret society. The Academy of Magical Arts, and a member of the Magic Castle. So I did that while I was in that area. I was a member, and
That's fucking awesome.
member, which was very prestigious, but it was kind of a checkbox from a childhood. So yeah, it was great.
No, I was fascinated all my life with magic, but then when I learned about the Magic Castle, I can't quite remember. Maybe it was some, show they mentioned it, and then I think I saw maybe a bit of a documentary, or because I know they're very secretive and they don't like really filming, but maybe something just like maybe in the lobby, or something they could
they
put.
used to not allow it at all. I think now they'll let you a little bit.
Right. And that was one of my main questions and interest about you when I saw it on the resume, professional magician, and I'm like, this is so cool. And years ago, so many notes when you could see the elevator pitches or just whatever, and I wanted to do like a movie or TV show. But again, I know how secretive they are, but I'm surprised no one has ever done anything like that. Because again, I point taken, they are very secretive. Everything I've heard, but you could fake a lot of stuff. But I guess they'd really be pissed at you too in a way. But maybe that's why.
I mean, there's people that reveal stuff online and stuff, clowns, and they have that show, The Secret Magician.
Yeah, I was going to say, remember that's another thing I used to love. Right? So you're exactly.
That's also a smoke screens too. Like there's a little bit of foolery in there as to the techniques.
That's so funny.
And it keeps the magicians being creative, because it's almost a challenge to a magician to watch somebody reveal the secret of the trick and go, oh yeah, watch this, and they do it again, and it doesn't resemble that at all. But
right.
So
And
it's like, okay,
right.
See,
yeah, just like we were talking before air, and I brought up that Penn and Teller. It's an older show, I think. I don't know, but it's Fool Us or something.
Yeah, great.
It's really good, right? And they had David Copperfield on. I mean, come on, he's one of the best. Now he's one of the best in terms of grand illusion, stage maybe, but still, he still does. He knows hand, the sleight of hand and the smaller tricks, and he just could. He knew a little bit of what they were doing, but he's like, no, you got me. You pretty much got me. He could not. No, and obviously Penn and Teller are one of the best, so it's really cool. And I think, as a pro magician, as someone so interested and so far more knowledgeable than I, but I've always looked at magic, and I wonder. Let me ask you. I wonder if they do not. I bet they do work with Secret Service or CIA. Like, what I'm saying is what they can do, right, by tricking people. Doesn't that translate so well into spy and espionage, spycraft? I would imagine.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I think that there are a lot of things that resemble magic that they use in security, and obviously having a double so it looks exactly like that person.
Right.
And then you see them there, and then you don't. And you've seen some of those videos where you'll see somebody famous up in a window.
Yeah.
But then there's a glitch, and they're like, "Oh, were they really there?" And maybe they weren't.
Right. Thank you.
Or they set up a mirror so that you can see the person in the window, but there's no no assassin can shoot them because they're not really physically standing there.
Right.
So
exactly.
From a security standpoint, that's a magic effect.
Right. Or body doubles, like the Kim Jong Un probably has 80 of them and shit. Right.
Oh yeah.
It's so crazy. Imagine that, but living your life as Kim Jong Un's body double. Like, Jesus.
Yeah,
and well, I think you did it for pay and for good work in Hollywood. So, but they're slaving away at like a bowl of rice a day or something. But then again, to look like him, you got to be kind of chubby. So I guess they're feeding him well. But it's fascinating.
Kind of the joke nowadays in the qualifier, and no disrespect to Mr. Crow, because he's an amazingly talented actor, but he's kind of big these days.
He is.
So everybody, especially my girl, she she qualifies it by saying, "Well, you look like the young Russell Crowe, you know,
the fit one, the younger thing." Yeah. I was going to ask that. It was so great. I was going to say the idea of growing older as a, stand-in, body double, stunt double, whatever. It's an interesting thing because obviously you could do work for him again, and but yet you're going to gain 50 pounds. I'm not trying to be disrespectful either, but he is big. He's a big guy today. The last time I saw him, he was very large. And I guess he's off season, because I know a lot of actors will maybe put on or gain, or it's just life. Everyone's like that.
Well, success, but you know what? He started out very early in his career, gaining a lot of weight and losing a lot of weight.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
Wow. That's really hard.
Okay.
That's really hard on your body.
Wow.
So if you watch, he had more weight on him for Master and Commander. So he put weight on for Master and Commander, and so I actually put on weight at the same time, and. From his Gladiator build, he went into heavy training for that. But if you go back into his previous movies, like he was very skinny, and then gained weight for the proof of the Wiggin film. I can't remember. All the names kind of blend together at this point.
Me too.
But he gained. If you look at him, he gained weight and lost weight, dramatic amounts of weight over his career. Right. And that really, it messes with your body.
Yeah.
So his metabolism is probably pretty jacked up. And then, he can eat whatever he wants. He has all the money he needs.
Sure. Eat, drink, whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Eat, drink, be merry, for sure. Yeah.
But now, it's interesting because I remember, I guess his first, I've seen it, it's been a while, it's vague memories, I can't even remember the name, but remember it was him and Denzel Washington, he played, and we're going to get into it, but he played an evil AI, and he was pretty fit in that. I think it was one of his first,
Virtuosity.
There you go. I love that title. Virtuosity, and I'm like, whoa, who is this guy? Like, he just was very, jumping off the screen, because obviously with Denzel, who had been pretty established by that point, I'm like, to have a co-star that's not only matching, but almost eclipsing at times, like, whoa, that is a name we're probably going to see a lot of. And I was right. Yeah.
It's funny because pre-Gladiator, and even as Gladiator came out, people really didn't know Russell Crowe, and I was rolling, he didn't live in Hollywood. I did at that time, and so I'd be out and about, and people would always approach me because nobody really knew who he was, but I obviously resembled him. So I would get kind of accosted in clubs, and I had people like Mark Wahlberg to stake me for him and things like that.
Oh,
so
shit!
It was kind of funny, and I never professed to be him.
Right.
I always gave up the game, but. But it was just kind of funny because I would be out and people would recognize me. Yeah. And that's still, to this day, I get people all the time, you look like that actor. And even though I'm not anywhere near the town,
Yeah.
But during that, but even before Gladiator, he was in L.A. Confidential.
I was going to say, there's another one. I love that movie. Yeah.
The Quick and the Dead with Gene Hackman and Sharon Stone. So he was already there. He just didn't have his name,
right? Yeah, I think right after Virtuosity, maybe it was L.A. Confidential. Kim Basinger. That's such a good film. And I'm like, this dude is gonna rock. He's a rockin', right? And obviously, up until what? I mean, I can't remember, but he just released something. Something's always coming out. And like you said, though, he's big. I mean, look, like you made a good point though about metabolism and stuff over the years. Yeah, it's probably the reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sure. But it's a great kind of segue because we really do want to get into Star Trek. Star Trek, that's so much my channel, obviously. But I love so much of just film. I just love classic and modern film. I was talking to you the other day about Good Fortune, such a good film, and now Roofman. I mean. You're getting spoiled because, look, I do love new movies, I do, but there's so many kind of clunkers or so many just franchise fodder. It's constant MCU or just even Trek. Like, and you get like almost, desensitized to original stuff. So when something like Good Fortune and Roofman comes, but anyway, so obviously with Star Trek, again, it was like a running joke this morning and other times, like we were prepared as Star Trek fans. We were prepared for AI, I think in many ways. And so, but now to be living in that, it's a really interesting thing. And again, how much you want to go into it, but I know you're involved pretty much so. And and a new company, and you're part of what you're doing is AI. So what is your Yeah, like you let your riff. Give me your impressions or your loves, hates, or your scares or joys of it. What?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing, and obviously my passion is entertainment, film and television, and I'm still a working actor, but it's a very it's always been a tough business, and it's the number. I think it's the number one place to get no validation back.
Yeah. There you go. That's good.
It takes nowadays with video auditions, it takes 30 to 50 auditions before you even book one role, unless you know somebody, or you're constantly working it with people who are constantly working. Yeah. And so I'm only from Utah. I'm only able to dip my toes in the water, but I'm able to audition with video auditioning for parts all over the world, but it's then 30 to 50 auditions, and you think about the time to put all that together into a video and send it off to a casting director, and then to get no notes back.
Right. Nothing.
There's no direction when you're not in the room with casting, and so you're just praying that you get that. Yeah. So anyway, but most of my life since the military has been in technology. So I have my master's degree in IT project management, and I've been everything from web design early on to network infrastructure to internet security and so on and so forth. But obviously, the new thing is AI, and we just launched a new AI company, and we are actually launching a new YouTube channel that likely will be out by the time this show comes out, called Studio AI History Throws Down, and we're basically using AI technology to build out characters from the past. So we've got like George Orwell, and Stalin. We've got Napoleon. We've got Sun Tzu, The Art of War, and then we're trying to get this launched really quick because we've got a Santa Claus and Jesus video. So
nice. South Park.
And they're 100% AI generated.
Nice.
So everything from the scripting, the dialogue that they have, to the video and everything else. So I'd say and we're also building out a technology part of the company that deals in real world problems. And so I'm able to deal with, I'm playing on the entertainment side in the studio AI space. And I'd say my skill level at this point is I likely know as much about all the tools and what they do on the audio visual side of things as anybody at this point.
Wow.
I'm pretty dug in on it. Yeah.
That's impressive.
So it's fun, because we really we don't really talk about AI and virtual reality in the same sentence right now, but that's all going to come. It's all going to come in at some point in a very big way, and so you have literally a holodeck. I mean, especially with Neuralink, where they're going to plug into your brain. We literally could have an empty room, and with a Neuralink, you could be in a simulation like the holodeck and be standing there with, Picard or whoever you want to be standing there with.
Yeah. That's what that's my nickname, really, or I say with AI, it's a holodeck, because you tell the computer what you want, you prompt it like a Data, Picard, Riker, whomever, and program complete, enter when ready, and within 30 seconds, a minute, boom, you get your video, you get your artwork, your research, and like you said, with VR glasses. With rooms, I think that like the meta glasses with VR glasses, we're going to get there. We're here now if you can afford it. All right. And then, of course, full rooms. And this is, whether you like it or not, we're going to be living in Star Trek's holodeck, okay? So get ready. Get used to it.
Yeah, that's it. And the interesting thing that people don't consider is with that Neuralink.
Yeah.
At some point, you'll have the tactile ability as well. So you'll be walking around in an empty room for all intents and purposes, but your brain will be able to trick you with that Neuralink, and you will actually be able to touch and feel things in that virtual environment.
Yeah. I gotta say, it is very exciting, but it's terrifying too. Okay, because everything up until when you start Neuralink, and of course I'm aware they did a whole thing on it, and they did a major new study I think it wasn't Neuralink, it was a competitor or something similar, but literally this Neuralink type technology was reading the people's minds. So there would be two participants, and one dude would say, yeah, I want to have, filet mignon tonight with béarnaise sauce, blah, blah, blah. And the other guy hooked up would get it and pretty much get like 90%. It is crazy. And I can't remember how they reading, they read the neural activity, I guess. And so, there we go. Mind reading, too. It's pretty much here, or it's very close. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And again, I think it's wonderful.
Matrix, too, right?
There you go. Brandon and I was talking about that with our video with, about Kung Fu and martial arts. The idea of, I love that. It's one of my favorites. Whoa, I know Kung Fu. It's like Bill and Ted, like Bill's in the, I love Keanu Reeves, that he sounded so much like, was it Ted from, he's Ted in the, my God, or is he, I think he's Ted, whoa, I know, but I love it, because, and I'll tell you, I didn't mention it on the show yesterday, but that is stolen in a way, with The Matrix. I mean, it's a sci-fi concept, but I'm a huge, big Bionic Woman and $6 Million Man fan, and there's a great episode.
Oh, yeah, me too.
There's a great episode where it downloads into the dude's brain. He's a compatriot or like a fellow agent of Steve's, and I think it was a backdoor pilot. They wanted to maybe do a new show with this guy, and so all throughout the episode he learns Aikido in like 5 seconds. It's the fucking Matrix. I'm just saying, obviously that was a sci-fi concept. No one owns that truly. But that is from $6 Million Man. And then the Wachowski brothers took it for Matrix. But yeah. So yeah, it's good stuff. And now we're all gonna do it, maybe. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see how AI affects the entertainment space, because I know people are resistant to it, but this Chat GPT will write a script. You would argue, Will, as a writer, that it doesn't have your ability, but man, it's challenging everything. I think actors are going to be replaced by AIs very, very soon, and that's a scary thing.
When we first met, you said that, and I kind of challenged you in a certain way. I don't think you're wrong. Maybe I bemoan it, I think you guys are going to hold on and fight as much as possible. But I also think, what was it the other day? I think it was Sam Altman. It was Bob Iger of Disney, and he said, definitively, AI is not a threat and will not replace actors or creatives. And I think when I first started playing with it was 3 years ago last month when I first started playing with ChatGPT. And I did all sorts of, give me a new scene from The Godfather, of course Star Trek, of Star Wars, whatever. And it was incredibly impressive. Though, as I used it more and more, it was becoming really patternistic. It's totally LLM, large language model, and so again, it spits out really quick stuff, and it's good, but it starts to be very kind of roady and sort of reminiscent and repetitive. But again, that was 3 years ago. I haven't really done anything.
No, it's still repetitive that way, and actually, there's always, if you're an expert, for example, you're an expert in writing a script. You are going to find the things that are wrong with it that the layperson wouldn't find.
Yeah, glaring, right? Sort of glaring, right.
Exactly. So I find that when I'm working with, my actors in the AI space, like Jesus and Santa Claus now. And
that's awesome. Yeah.
And it's funny because it goes off on a tangent in a completely opposite direction of what I intend, and then it's repetitive, and so I get a script back, and it's like, wait, you're repeating the same thing like 8 times. I think only 3 is for comedy, and this isn't even comedy. Right.
So there you go. And you know what I noticed too? Like again, the patternistic and the repetitive copying, whatever you want to call, is what it will do. It will always sum up like a short story. I think Darth Vader versus Dracula. I do this weird, wacky shit, and it's fun. And then in the end, people realize that even though the Dark Lord of the Sith was, a Sith Lord, he was not a supernatural being. So blah blah, and the galaxy was grateful. But then it will do the same vibe in the end. They came to get this is the same sort of modelistic ending and finale. And again, it's impressive in one way, and it works. But yeah, and again, what do I know? The $30, $40, $50 version, the really pro versions, maybe I would imagine give you a better outcome. But
they're better, but it all comes down to the prompting.
Yeah.
and as you, I'm sure, know, and if it's garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
It's computer 101,
Right.
So you're only going to get the quality of the content based on what you put in.
Yeah, Gigo still applies. Garbage in, garbage. I totally agree. Exactly. It still applies.
That's not going to change.
Right.
That's not gonna change.
And again, like, I know, I mean, look, I'm sure, like me, not only because you work with it, but you're very curious and you're a tech geek, techie like me, that techie, right? We're Trekkie techie. That there's so much debate where a lot of the cyber guys, the experts, the computer scientists are like, oh, it will become general, because now we're generative, right? We're agentic and generative, meaning it can do all sorts of fancy stuff, but it is not sentient, conscious, or does not really understand. Then it will become general, and that will be like HAL and Data. God help us, God help the galaxy. HAL and Data. So, but I still think maybe it's more the human in me, and the human adventure is just beginning. And Star Trek, I go by, it's the human adventure. It is not tech, and it's not aliens. But anyway, the bottom line is that I think that it probably won't happen, or maybe it will happen in a long time. But what do you think? Like, will we get a HAL or a Data? I don't know. I just
Well, the scary part of all of this stuff, really, to me, and it goes back to that garbage in, garbage out thing, is there is a lot of good that can be done with AI, but there are bad people out there, and bad people will always take advantage of things to do bad things.
Right.
So my fear is those people getting a hold of, I plug into my Neuralink, for example.
Yeah.
And who's to say there's not some bad person that could hack that thing and
right.
hack into my brain?
You're just right, because I'm talking to a buddy. It might have even been Brandon, whomever, Tom. The point is, and we're all geeks like this. We're all techies. We all love this shit. But I'm like, there's no way I'm doing this because of a couple little things, malware and viruses. Right? We have to deal with that now on our computers and our tablets and our what's it called? Computers, whatever. All our devices. Could you imagine that entering our brain? Can you imagine that somehow, again, unless you're truly Borg, unless you're truly cyborg Borg, I get, you'd be able to take it out and you'd be able to disconnect, and it's not going to really cause irreparable death. Who fucking knows, though? Oh, right, exactly. Hopefully, not only that, but then, like we're saying that a couple months ago, this lab where it's sort of like Neuralinkish, whatever, and they can read your mind. So in terms of that it could maybe download, like a reverse, instead of upload, download. It could copy some of your memories or your idea. Who fucking knows exactly? It's crazy. It will. Of course, it will. Right. There's no way it won't. Right. And again, I just think in the beginning, like we're seeing now. What I guess Neuralink, that's the primary, right, is for the disabled, if I recall, which is wonderful. But people, paraplegics, quadriplegics, like look at, Chris Reeve, like if he had lived, wow, what a wonderful thing that would have been for someone like him. I know even, Stephen Hawking's gone as well. And, I'm saying like the idea of giving these people, these disabled, that much more ability and purchase and control of their life, that's awesome, right? So I don't think that ever will stop. Though, like we're saying, it's going to translate into games and into recreation, and work. And so, it's funny with Trek, even though it is so prophetic and so predictive in ways, as you know, as a fan, it is always sort of separate. Yeah, you've got the Borg is the great example, and that's when it all comes together, and that's why that AI sort of implanty, sort of Neuralink gone crazy would be the Borg. But everything else is like, hey, we got computers, we use them, but we're not hooked up to them all the time, or certainly not, wear them. We don't wear them and implant them.
Well, that's change. I mean, we carry our computers around in our pocket now with our phone, right? So that's all changing as we speak. When you don't even have to carry a device, maybe you have an earbud in your ear, but that actually projects something out into the, in front of you, so you can see something on the screen and you're interacting with that. I mean, that stuff is all Star Trek and all very real technology that's being developed right now. Yeah,
absolutely. Listen, I'm looking at the clock, and I said before we started this, but you know what? Let's go. You want to? Let's go. Why not? I can edit it because we're on a roll here. I feel great, good energy. So let's continue. I think Thank you. That's a great point. And so let's really, we've been dancing around it. Let's go right into Star Trek. Come on, let's not hesitate. So a quick thing for me, as a lot of listeners probably know already, my book, I came to Star Trek at 4 years old. I'll never forget it. Squire of Gothos. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I couldn't believe, I could barely process it as a 4-year-old, but I know I was not in grammar school, and that was when I was 5 years old. I know. So anyway, the bottom line, that's how I came to Star Trek. What about you? Me was the old series.
Oh, well, the funny, so I've always, I used to watch the original show with my dad back in the day, and I had the action figures, and, always was a Star Trek over Star Wars guy. It always seemed smarter. It always seemed like